so we're back talking about 2020 plans for the farm. We've already discussed fencing, what we're gonna do, what our plan is. Next, animals. What are we gonna do for animals? What are you thinking? Right now, we have a pregnant heifer, and we have a steer, we have a horse, 2 goats, and egg-laying chickens, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. We just brought in Lily's meat birds and got those harvested. She was doing those for a project for school, and so we got those done, and so we have no meat birds right now, which is great. And so, but we need to decide what we're gonna do for next year, or for 2020.
So we'll be down Tibbs.
Yep, we're gonna process our steer. I need to call the processor and see what their timeline is and all that kind of stuff.
I was gonna call it a meat cow, but I suppose that's not what you call it when you're a professional.
So I have to call the processor and figure out. That is still really bright. Mm-hmm. Let me see if I can sit behind you a little bit more. Have you block the sun. That may be a little better. So I need to.
Can I sit like this?
I need to call the processor and figure out when they would have an opening for us. And he's just starting to get really finished. He's grass-fed, so slower. He's very big and very stocky though. So we will have a freezer full of beef. Now, in the past, we have always split beef with family, so a half of beef has lasted us a year. Our last steer that we had processed was last year. I think it was January 4th. And we're just about out of our beef for that. But we also supplement. We grow most of our own meat. Mm-hmm. So we supplement with turkeys, chicken, venison, and lamb. Right? Mm-hmm. So we rarely eat pork because then we have to buy it. We have a freezer full of stuff. So the only thing we really buy is lunch meat. And so we need to figure out when we're getting Tibbs processed. But we need to think of, we were talking about doing, there you go. We were talking about doing, raising pastured turkeys. Is that something you're still wanting to do, or?
So anything we raise, you have to have it ready by fair time. Is that right?
Not necessarily.
If we're gonna sell it as meat.
It depends on if the kids want to sell them at the fair or show them in the fair.
So if we do chickens for us,
like we'd want Cornish cross.
We do meat chickens.
Okay.
We'd want them ready by fair time so we could sell some and have some for ourselves. Is that?
You're asking me?
I'm asking.
Yep. Probably.
So same with turkeys, unless we're selling.
Because I don't want to do multiple batches again like we did last year. Mm-hmm. I would rather just have them all done and get enough done for the year and be done.
Can you put, if you have your chickens in a chicken tractor,
okay,
can we run them in front of the turkeys? Or do you run them alongside?
I think you run them alongside the turkeys because they would be eating the same kind of stuff.
And do you do that before or after any other animals?
After. You would do it after the cows. I'm not quite sure about where, if we were to do lambs or anything like that.
So we'd only have we'd have the pastures fenced in.
Okay.
We'd only have the 2 cows. And one wouldn't be eating yet.
Yep, because Patches is due.
So we can't send
spring.
Patches to get bred this summer because she'll be nursing.
Correct.
The new calf.
Yep.
So we can have them out in the pasture even if it's not. Can we have them in the pasture that the turkeys and chickens are in a tractor? and just move the chickens and turkey if we don't have it
We should be able
separated.
to.
If we don't have it separated to rotationally graze,
Yep.
can we put them in pasture too and put the cows in there and the chicken tractors?
Yep. We
All at
should.
the same time?
We should be able to because she's mellow. It's not like she gets into anything. She's a pretty.
Then would Rusty go in with them, or would he just stay in the pasture one?
I don't know. It depends on how cleaned up we have it and everything. So back to what are you thinking? Are you interested in doing? Earlier we were talking about after we had brought our turkeys to harvest, we actually had done this as a test run so that we could sell turkeys in the future if we wanted to, and it went well. We were all very happy with it. If we did them to sell, we'd have to do it on a bigger scale. We'd want to do pastured turkeys instead of confined because it's healthier for the birds, and we want them to be able to help restore our soil. And so I guess my question is 4 strands of high tensile enough to keep predators out of the pasture, coyotes especially, and that if it is, then we could put turkeys in tractors and move the tractors every day and just have the tractor nice and secure and predator proof as long as something isn't going to be barreling into it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I think
you think we should?
turkeys are something we should do.
Okay, are you thinking? I'm thinking maybe about 15 to 20.
I think we should start putting it out there and see how many people would want one.
Okay.
And at least if we get people to commit to buy them beforehand,
Okay.
make sure we have enough in case a bunch of them don't make it for some reason,
Okay.
and some for us.
Yep.
So we can eat turkeys.
Oh yeah, definitely. So if we just in our budgeting plan on, let's say 20, we need to look at turkey tractor plans
Okay.
and decide on what we want to build, all that kind of stuff. We want to make them small enough and light enough if we have to do them in even 4 different pens. I mean, that's 5 turkeys per pen. But we want to make it light enough that the kids and I can move them easily, especially if it's a sandier area. You know, as they get bigger, we might need to move them a couple times a day. So we want to make sure that they're big enough, or that they're light enough that we can move them easier. What do you think about Cornish crosses?
I think we should have some for us.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have to sell any.
Okay.
Maybe just at the fair if the kids want to, but
Okay. And then there was something that we wanted to try last year too. Oh, ducks. What do you think about ducks? Should we try to do some pastured duck too?
we could try it and see how it works.
Okay.
Not for
Probably
to sell
not
this
a
time.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we could sell them at the fair.
Okay. So we'll ask the kids about if they want to do any of those in the fair.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can kind of budget on how many we'll need from there. Because if they don't want to sell any in the fair or bring any to the fair, then we know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we keep talking about lambs. Are we going to buy the market lambs like we usually do? What are you thinking of lambs?
Do we do lambs this year?
Well,
If
we love lamb meat.
Do we do lambs just for us? Do we do it for the fair? Do we?
Yeah, I don't know. So we'll ask the kids about the fair.
So a lamb we would buy in the spring and butcher in the fall.
Pretty much,
So
yeah.
they wouldn't last over the winter. We would have to feed them over the winter
Correct. Yep.
unless we got the other.
We really would like to buy Navajo churros. They're a lot hardier. They're good all-weather lambs. They're more ideal, from what I've read, they're more ideal for our climate here in northern Wisconsin. And they are more parasite resistant, they're more hardy, all of that. So I have been wanting to get Navajo churros, but it is something where we are wanting to put in the fencing correctly before we get them so that we can put them out on pasture right away, so that we have the ability, we have the space for them. We're talking in an earlier video about redoing the fencing in pasture 1. We want to make sure that it's set up for our future needs instead of just willy-nilly and, oh, we're going to put in fencing because we want to get these lambs or we want to get these sheep. Well, if we end up not getting them and we just stick with having a few beef cattle, then we're going to be stuck. So we really want to make sure that we put the thought into the fencing first. So I'm thinking Navajo churros, probably not this year because we need to get the fencing.
Unless we get the fencing all figured out. I think we should, once we
Fencing
get
first.
the fencing done, then go back and see what kind of lambs we want to get.
But what if, like, we need the lambs well before we get the fencing done for the fair?
Do we have fencing for regular lambs?
For the market
For the
lambs?
market lambs right now?
Yes,
So we could do market
we
lambs.
could do market lambs. So how many
So I
are you
guess-
thinking? We had 3 last year.
We ate 3? I mean, we butchered 3?
Yeah,
How many can the kids sell?
they can each sell 1.
So if we went with 3 to sell and 3 for us, and then if they didn't want to sell them, then we only do 3?
Okay. Okay, so we're thinking of probably about 20 turkeys, depending on if the kids are going to bring them to the fair or not. Doing a few pasture ducks, doing Cornish cross, mostly not just for us, not to sell, but then also if the kids want to bring some to the fair, they can. If they don't, that's
Yep.
fine. And then the lambs, we're thinking 3 for us, and then possibly some for the fair if the kids want to do it or not. If they don't, then it's just the 3 for us, and then we'll start getting the fencing so that the Navajo churros we can be set up for. So when we do find some, we're ready for them.
Okay.
Does that sound good? Is there any other animals that we?
Animals?
Yeah.
Not for meat, I don't think.
We were talking about animals that would be good kind of attraction for the pumpkin patch and Christmas tree farm. Definitely don't want to have a petting zoo. That is not at all where I want. What I want, I'm concerned about biohazard issues. Like, there's just too much anxiety in me to have a petting zoo.
But a couple reindeer out in the pasture would be kind of nice.
Reindeer for looking, and
Yeah.
I would love to have reindeer, but that's so expensive. There's so many reasons why we can't have reindeer at this point in our lives. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. What were we talking about?
For animals?
Yeah,
Just our animals.
okay,
I don't think we're gonna get anything special,
okay.
except for reindeer.
Okay, so that's it for animals. That is our plan for this year. We would like to start selling a little bit of what we grow. And we are going to keep raising beef just for ourselves. But we would like to sell some turkeys, some pastured turkeys, and some pastured ducks. And grow some chickens, turkeys, ducks, and lambs for us to eat. And then we're not quite sure about the fair, what the kids want to do and what they don't want to do for the fair. And so that is something that we have to cross that bridge when we get there, or when we kind of figure out what the kids want to do. I know that it's kind of late in the year, but with pumpkin season, we go straight. Our fair is at the very end of August. We're the last fair in the area, and we might even be one of the last fairs of the state. And so we go straight from fair to, like, 2 days later, pumpkin season opening for us. And so then from there, we go straight into Christmas tree season. So this is really the first time that we get to take a deep breath and, like, look at things from a clearer picture, because we're just getting done with our season. So our season is kind of opposite of farmer seasons, but we definitely are taking advantage of this January, February to figure out what we're doing. that's it for today's video, guys. We kind of have it figured out now. We just need clarification on what the kids want to do for the fair and what they're thinking for the fair. And so once we get that done, then we will have everything figured out, and I can actually start to put in the orders and contact the people so that everybody is ready and I'm ahead of the game instead of like the last person. So that's pretty exciting. But that's it for today's video. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.